Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. Alright guys, so I'm going to react to this Imam that met Tommy Robinson in Palestine. This is a British Imam from Nottingham, and he threw Ibn Kathir, the famous exegete, under the bus. He threw Ali Dawa under the bus. He threw the Pakistanis under the bus as well, all so he could placate and he could give his form of dawah to Tommy Robinson. And let's see how Tommy Robinson, so initially when Tommy Robinson posted it, so did so many other right-wing pages. Now if they are promoting an Imam, if they're happy with someone's version of Islam, that's a concern, that's a problem. Yeah, and Tommy Robinson says, as I toured the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem, I came across an Imam from Leicester. He's actually an Imam in Nottingham. We talk Israel, religion, politics. Even he hates Starmer. So the reason for my delay in uploading this video was because he released a very poor written apology, and in there he's literally just apologizing. He's not saying that he disagrees with the views, he was gravely mistaken and this is his actual view. It's just a standard apology, and frankly I was told on good authority that he would release a video apology in which he would go into more detail, which he didn't. And it's ironic because all of this backlash that he's received, he would have hoped that at least Tommy would be happy with his content, but even Tommy reneged. And look at this follow-up post. As I spoke to this Imam from the UK in Jerusalem, it's clear if you know Islam that taqiyya will be used to defend the ideology from scrutiny. Yet millions believe that being a non-Muslim is punishable by death. This must be challenged at every turn. It can't be ignored. So he still, despite him, I think he's no longer an Imam. I think he's got temporary suspension or something because he went against majority of his community, which if I'm not mistaken are Pakistanis. He himself being a Gujarati, yeah? So,
are you from Britain?
Yes, I am from
Britain. I knew you was from Britain and I see you.
I've seen you a lot, mate.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
My name's Umar.
Omar?
Yeah.
Omar, we're obviously in Jerusalem.
he goes, yeah, what's your name? Umair. Oman. Okay, Pakistan. Let's... he's a classic.
We're just understanding the complexity of the Jewish side and the Muslim side. What's your view as a British Muslim on the state of Israel?
I have no issue. As long as people are living in peace, if they have their side, they have their country. The Palestinians have their own kind of safe spot where they can live freely.
Oh, so already guys, we can see why this video is so troublesome. Yeah, give Israel their state and the Palestinians, give them a little spot. Yeah, you Palestinians stay in that spot, yeah? Okay, it's fine. I have no problem with that. Let's see that bit again.
And the Muslim side, what's your view as a British Muslim on the state of Israel?
What's your view on the state of Israel? Let's see if you're going to catch that.
No issue. As long
Nah, he's not going to catch that. I've got no issue. Yeah, I'm not Palestinian. I'm a British guy that frankly doesn't really know much about the conflict, but I've got no issue, mate. Yeah, mate, I know he's asking you, but he's asking you as a representative of your community. You have to give an answer that is reflective of your community, of Muslims, of pro-Palestine activists. You are not an individual.
as long as people are living in peace, if they have their side, they have their country. And the Palestinians have their own kind of safe spot where they can live free.
Palestinians, just give them a safe spot. Israelis, they can keep their country. Give them a safe spot, the Palestinians, yeah? Don't move from that spot and make sure you guys are peaceful, yeah? What world are you living in, Imam? What peace? Peace and Israel just does not go together. History testifies to this. How can people still be giving answers like this? When I went up north, people were telling me that the Imams here are too afraid to even pray for Palestine. Now, with all due respect, yeah? If you're not getting involved in the discourse, don't start doing interviews with Tommy Robinson then. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be out of the discourse, stay out of the discourse. Don't come in and use arguments from 15 years ago. Oh yeah, as long we live in peace. There's a genocide going on.
Really, without under any oppression or any injustice, then I think this is the solution for peace in the Middle East.
This is the solution for peace. Give Palestinians a spot. You guys have your country. That's as long as there's peace. How is there going to be peace? Because even that spot that they give the Palestinians, which they have done, Gaza and West Bank, they're still not happy with that. In the West Bank, they're making illegal settlements, which are illegal according to international law.
See, I wasn't expecting to hear that, because I didn't expect to hear many Muslims that would recognise
Yeah, that's because this is a naive view.
the Israeli state.
No, as in, I have no issue.
I'll see if you have an issue when something like this happens to you and your family. Then we'll ask some other Tom, Dick and Harry, and we'll ask his opinion about what's happening to you. The believing ummah is like one body. The hand feels pain, the rest of the body feels pain. You know this hadith, but suddenly when you're in front of Tommy, give them a little spot in the corner, yeah? Yeah. A'udhu billah, somebody comes into your home and sticks your family into a little spot there, and they take over the house, that's okay?
They've been living here for thousands of years. They have a rich history in this part of the Middle East.
Where are you from, bro?
I'm from Britain.
Yeah, they have a rich history. What about the Palestinians? What about their rich history? What about them predating the Israelis? How about that? You don't want to talk about that, do you? Because Hazrat Tommy Robinson, Damat Barakatuhum, is in front of you, right?
Whereabouts?
Leicester.
Okay.
Yeah. And if they want to live in this part of the country, in this part of the region of the world, and that they can't. But what the issue of the mainly Muslim majority population is, as long as they live in peace together, as long as there's not this oppression and injustice taking place, then we have no problem.
What would you say if I...
Just waffling now. He just keeps repeating the same naive, irrelevant point. Living in peace, living in peace. What's wrong with you, bro? What living in peace? Pick up one book, yeah? And don't even read all of it. Read a couple of pages from it. Yeah, the history of Palestine and what the Israelis have been doing over there. Even the Brits know, when the Brits were there in the Mandate, the King David Hotel, so many British individuals were killed. Yeah, Israel started off by heads of extremist groups, be it Ergun, Stern Gang and Haganah. The leaders of these three extremist groups ended up becoming prime ministers of the early Israel. They were literally founded on hate and violence. And the reason we have to make videos like this, so other people don't become emboldened when they've been sitting out of the discussion, to then join the discussion and do a disservice to the ulama. The ulama that actually have spoken out and that do speak out.
You look at throughout Muslim history, you'll see that when the Crusaders came, then Jewish people expelled from Jerusalem. But when the Muslims ruled, then the Christians, Muslims and Jewish people lived in peace and harmony.
As long as they paid the jizya.
Of course.
Now he's made a good point, yeah? And it's a strong point. He's talking about the convivencia, he's talking about the three faiths, living in harmony, demonstrating that it's not an issue to do with religion, rather it's ownership of land and politics and the likes. Now, if he's media trained, Tommy Robinson throws in jizya there. He should finish his point, complete his point, and then go on to the next argument. But because he's most likely not media trained, let's see.
As long as they pay the tax, which is, we live in Britain.
As long as they were subjugated.
No, as long as they live freely. If you read history, there was no oppression, there was no occupation.
Providing they paid special money for protection.
Just like we do pay our taxes.
But the Muslims didn't have to pay the same tax.
Okay, so he's talking about protection tax, yeah? Tommy is. And then the Imam is responding by making a correlation or an analogy with the UK tax. I'm sorry, but that's not a good analogy. It's not the same as the UK tax. In fact, the jizya is better. The jizya is actually closest to something called a national defense tax, which is only payable for those that are able to fight in the military. Males that are able to fight. If you're old and you cannot fight, you don't have to pay the jizya. Even if you're a monk and you just stay in churches for most of your life worshipping, then you don't have to pay the jizya. If you're a child, if you're disabled, you don't have to pay the jizya. Here, the tax system, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah, you'll get a bit of benefit, but if they feel you could do work, they'll make you do your work. If you're a monk, it doesn't matter. You still have to pay the tax. If you are a woman, you still have to pay tax, unless there are other circumstances or whatnot. And if Muslims cannot grant safety for you because you're not fighting, the Muslims are fighting to defend you and you're in a Muslim land, then your jizya gets returned to you. Case in point, Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah, yeah, when he returned the money, because he couldn't guarantee the safety of the individuals under him. This is quoted by Abu Yusuf in Al-Kharraj. And we know a similar incident that took place at the time of Khalid bin Walid, and that's recorded in At-Tabari. Imam Nawawi says that the majority of the scholars say jizya is to be taken with gentleness. I don't see the UK taking taxes with gentleness. In fact, if you don't pay it, you get delayed. They make your life a living hell. You even have Islamophobes like Montesquieu. He was one of the founders of democracy and he had a lot of issues with Islam. This was not one of them. Even he acknowledged that non-Muslims had no difficulty paying it and felt safe under the Muslims. This is in his book Spirit of Laws.
Sorry, can I ask you, so what would you say if I've just told you I've walked along this shopping street in the Muslim quarter, I've spoke to many Muslim business owners who said they love the state of Israel?
Yeah.
But does that surprise you? It surprised me.
I don't think so.
But they said they're happy living here and they haven't faced discrimination and they feel fairly treated under the state of Israel.
That's perfectly fine. As long as they're happy, they're living in peace and security, I see no issue with this. They have no issue with it.
I have no issue with it. I have no issue with it, brother. Yeah, I have no issue with it. They have no issue. I have no issue. Who has issue? Tell me who has the issue. You just need to look to your right, Imam, and you see armed Israeli guards standing there. Now, if these guys raise their head and have an issue, now Tommy Robinson is loved by the Israelis. Imagine if one of these shopkeepers says something against Israel, what's going to happen tomorrow? He's going to get his head kicked in, he's going to disappear, and he's going to become a hostage, and frankly, one of the hostages that people just don't care about. Everyone's banging on about the hostages taken by Hamas, but no one wants to talk about the hostages that are kept in inhumane conditions, going against any principle of human rights. They don't care about human rights. They know that they can get away with anything.
What's your name?
Omer.
More Muslims like Amir, yeah?
Do you see? Now, Tommy Robinson is an individual that day in, day out, he is insulting the Prophet, calling him a rapist, calling him this, calling him that. You don't laugh and joke with somebody like this. I'm not saying you are miserable and you don't do a service to the religion, but what I'm saying is you need to hold him to account. Yeah, gone are the days that, oh yeah, if I give dawah to Tommy Robinson, he'll accept and everything will be okay. No, he receives heavy funding from Zionists. Even his group, EDL, it started off, it was not called English Defense League, it was English and Jewish Defense League. And the people that helped him start it and finance it, these individuals were ex-IDF. You know what I mean?
The Quran says that to kill one person is as you have killed the entire mankind.
Can you
save one person is as if you have saved the entire mankind.
Can you carry on reading that verse?
من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد.
He didn't ask for the Arabic, bro. He's not going to understand the Arabic. Watch, he's just going to ignore everything you say and just stick to his script.
في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا.
Can I translate what you said? Unless they cause mischief and they must have their hands and feet cut off and exiled from the land.
Do you see? This is the Tommy that you're dealing with.
That's not up to Tom, Dick and Harry to decide. That is up to a qualified judge to decide. And if you look in Ottoman history, you'll find very few scenarios where that actually took place.
Can I ask, who's Ibn Kathir?
Ibn Kathir is a great mufassir and a Muslim theologian.
A great mufassir and a theologian. Yeah, he's setting you up. That's why he's asked you that. You should know what's coming.
Is he very good? Is he recognised well?
Yes.
Ibn Kathir translates...
Ibn Kathir. What was your name again? Oman or Pakistan?
The word mischief as meaning not believing in Allah.
Okay.
So that verse that you just quoted...
That's his...
You just said he's a great scholar. That word that you just... that verse that you just translated,
Yep.
according to that great Islamic scholar, translates that mischief,
Yep.
not believing in Allah,
Yep.
must be punished
Yep.
by death.
You should challenge him. For who? For who? For non-Muslims living in Muslim lands? Because you just need to give one counter verse that says there's no compulsion in religion. You cannot force somebody to accept Islam. There have been cases in the past and then the judges have allowed them to go back to their faith. That's the way the Sharia works. You cannot force somebody to accept Islam. The Imam, unfortunately and sadly, is going to throw this great scholar under the bus and say, I don't have to agree with everything that he says.
Execution.
That's his opinion. Now, if you
You just said he's a great Islamic scholar, yeah? He's one of the most renowned in the world.
That doesn't mean I have to agree with everything he says.
I don't agree. I don't have to agree with everything that he says. You're not going to clarify his view. You're not going to give context. You're not at least going to say, can you pull this exegesis out so I can read it in the Arabic and then shame him because Tommy doesn't know Arabic. No. You're just going to cut, Ibn Kathir off. A'udhu billah.
We've got an Islamic scholar who's one of the most renowned in the world.
Yeah.
He translates the verse that you just quoted to say kill non-Muslims.
If you look,
It's not how we translated it, doofus. He's giving exegesis. He's an exegete.
if you look at, see, one thing is what's on paper. If you look at the example of how the Islamic society, Islamic caliphate ruled for the past 13th century, you will find that isn't the case.
What about the ISIS caliphate?
I agree with that at all. That is
Sector you.
Old talking point, John Kerry himself admitted that they allowed this ISIS group to grow because they wanted to use it as a counterweight against Bashar al-Assad. That's point number one. Point number two, look at the origins of ISIS. They started in Camp Buka, Camp Nama, I think one of the two, and they were majority made up from the ex-military of Saddam, because Saddam's military was disbanded very quickly, and the experts say that was not a wise move because they coalesced and they came together in ISIS. And number three, people that were kept hostage by them gave their observations and said their discussions were not Islamic, they were mostly political.
And I follow you on social media quite a lot.
Okay, so he just admitted he follows him quite a lot on social media. Tommy was just trailing off, Now, I follow you a lot. You should know that he's constantly insulting Islam, the last prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Islamic principles, making mockery of the burqa and many fundamental teachings of Islam.
And I applaud you for your patriotism, but unfortunately, I think that you have maybe got the wrong picture and the wrong version of Islam.
Maybe.
I've watched your podcast. I know you have Muslim friends in growing up in Luton, and I think the area where you have grown up in was mainly Pakistani Kashmiri Muslims.
Pakistani Kashmiri Muslims. It's the time for the Pakistani Kashmiri Muslims to be thrown under the bus as well.
Kashmiri. Are you Indian?
Yes.
They're notorious?
Yes.
Deobandi?
And you'll notice that the Gujaratis, Deobandis, generally they are more kind of welcoming. And
so Gujarati Deobandi. So he's gone into a sect, then the sect of a sect. Why? Because he hopes that Tommy Robinson, no, leave my sect alone. My sect. Bro, even the Deobandis are furious, because if you look at the history, the main scholars of Deoband stood against oppression no matter where it came from. They did not hide, and they did not capitulate, and they did not throw the Akabirin, the Salaf, under the bus like this. Even their fellow Muslim community. He's talking about the notorious Pakistani Kashmiris. If you look from 1970s to 1990s, the foremost community representing the Browns against the skinheads under an age or an incident called Paki bashing, where the skinheads, the white skinheads, would go and they would smash up the shops, abuse the women, do all of this sort of stuff that we are protected from significantly today because these guys marched. These guys stood up to them. It was the Pakistani community. And so for him to throw them under the bus like this, it's not just. I'm not saying that they're perfect, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that when you're speaking to somebody like Tommy Robinson, this is not the guy that you expose your differences to. We all know Ali radiallahu an and Muawiyah radiallahu an had issues. However, I read this narration long time ago. When a non-Muslim tried to get in between them, I think it was either Ali or Muawiyah, he wrote back to him and said, "You son of a dog, how dare you try to exploit the differences between me and my brother? If you continue to do so, I will unite with my brother and we will come and we will deal with you." And another analogy that comes to mind is that of a red cow, a blue cow and a green cow. The wolf comes and he says to the red cow, "Look, I've got no beef with you." No pun intended. I've got beef with the blue cow and the green cow. So when I attack them, look, you just stay out of it. I've got no problem with you, isn't it? Then he goes to the blue one, says the same thing. Then when he attacks the green one, the red and the blue one don't do anything. Then he does the same thing to the blue one. Then when he turns his attention to the red one goes, "I died the day I allowed you to attack the green cow." So similarly, Yeah, what I'm trying to get across here is, as Muslims, we are a minority in this country. Whether black people, Jewish people, whichever minorities get attacked or whatnot, we should defend them. We should assist, and we should not say, oh, it's not our community here, therefore it's okay. No, because eventually it's going to come to you. Now this guy, this Imam, is going into a niche of a niche of a niche. Yeah, I'm Sunni. Yeah, Deobandi. What sort of Deobandi? Gujarati Deobandi. So what the hell what's wrong with you, bro? Yeah, just stay up north. You know what I mean? Just stay in your masjid, because you have no clue what's going on in the real world. Because when you're on camera, when you're on such a platform as Tommy Robinson's, then you're speaking for a lot of people, and you need to be responsible. Because even Tommy got heat for promoting this Imam, despite this Imam literally bending over backwards for him. Why? Because it doesn't fit with Tommy's narrative to promote Muslim, unless they completely throw the Quran. You know what I mean? They discard it.
About Tablighi Jamaat, the mosque.
Yes,
That's your
Tablighi Jamaat is not a mosque. It's a movement in which they give da'wah just to Muslims. And they have 6 points. They stay away from politics and all of this sort of stuff. Their thing is very specific. Let's see how he responds to that. Yeah, at least say Tabligh is not a mosque, yeah?
the mosque.
yes,
That's your main mosque.
No, I'm not part of the group, but I know people that are part.
Okay. But
You're not part of the group. I know people part of the group. Okay, I can see that he just wants to get past that point. All right, fair enough. But at least ask Tommy, like, what's your issue with them? Or why have you brought them up?
Ali Dawa and people like Ali Dawa.
People like them, I don't really have any inclination towards those kind of people. I don't really agree what they kind of do. You know, going out to the streets and forcing people and, you know,
He brought up Ali Dawa. I don't know if you heard it, yeah? And he said, I have no inclination towards those people. What? People that are giving dawah week in, week out? Giving dawah in the rain, in the cold? What do you not have? What are you inclined towards then? Tommy Robinson, because you watch his stuff. And then he says, yeah, people that are... Look, listen. This is the problem. You know, when you start throwing people under the bus, these guys, you notice, are unanimous. When you ask them to condemn the IDF, they do not. They don't. Even though there are clear crimes being taken place. Clear by the ICC, ICJ, genocide experts, human rights experts, you name them. No. They're anti-Semites, but no. You can't say anything about the state of Israel. It's just a tiny little state. But this guy is throwing everybody under the bus. Just not me and my community. They came for you and your community as well. What now? What now?
I agree what they kind of do. You know, going out to the streets and forcing people and, you know, being aggressive. I've seen some of...
Forcing people with what? Well, forcing people to accept Islam. Who? Give case and point. Who did he force? I don't understand, bro. Like, this guy is totally zoned out.
His videos, he can be quite aggressive. That kind of approach, I'm more of a gentle person. I like talking.
Oh, so he doesn't talk to people, yeah? What, he does sign language to people? What does he do? What, he uses Morse code to people? I'm the peaceful Muslim. Be okay with me. Are you gonna stop doing your hatred towards Islam? No. He's gonna insult you after you leave as well. He's good to your face.
in your perfect society, yours,
Yes.
forget Britain,
Yes.
what you would love to see for the whole world or your country or where you live, what should, in that nation, what would you put the legal age for sex as?
What was that? What are you doing? I thought you were gentle. Why are you laughing in his face? Is that gentleness? Tommy doesn't care. He wants to know your answer, mate. You can laugh all you want. You're now a spokesperson.
I'm not a legislator. I'm not familiar with the law, so I can't give...
You're not familiar with the law, eh? So what does that mean? If you're not familiar with the law, that means you're constantly breaking the law.
No, in your society, if you could govern society, you're an imam, in your ideal society...
Tommy just wants him to say you can marry kids. But we don't agree with that, frankly. But the Imam won't know that 38 out of 50 states in America don't have a set age for marriage. That's why people are getting married to kids as young as 12. That's what's happening in America.
There is no specific age. Whatever the culture of that and the norm of that society is, that would be the legal age. So for example...
Okay, so if there's a culture that says 5-year-olds, is Islam okay with that? No. Islam is not okay with that. We have principles. She has to be mentally ready, physically ready, and it has to be socially acceptable. But he's going to keep talking about the third aspect of it being socially acceptable.
Medieval Britain, the age was very young.
But what about now? What about now?
Moved on. So now the norm of society would be that 18 plus. And if somebody was to get married younger, I wouldn't agree with that, because it's not the custom and the norm of this age.
But the norm of the age in some countries is 15. What if you're living in that country? What are you going to do then? In some, it's 20. You know what I mean?
So Islam is unique that it follows the customs and traditions of the society.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't just follow. It doesn't follow the customs and traditions. It has its own points. The customs and traditions also play an integral part when it comes to the fiqh.
You've watched.
I need to run for prayer.
Okay, sorry, man. You've watched a lot of my content, yeah?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Do you think I hate Muslims?
Yes.
I wouldn't say you hate Muslims, but I think you have sort of hatred and a misunderstanding, a misconstrued understanding of what Islam is. And I believe that's because of maybe the environment you grew up in and the things that you saw growing up. And if I take a picture
Of course not, bro. Of course not.
Now taking a selfie with them.
I'll prank. See you later, man. See you later, bro.
That guy in the corner is called Avi Yemeni. A vile individual. The worst kind of Zionist you can think of, yeah? Even he's laughing at him. They're laughing. You know what I mean? They're laughing at him. And he just doesn't get it.
This guy's straight in his group chat.
He's going to put it in his group chat. Who in his group chat saw that and was like, yeah, good job? I'd like to know. I'd like to know.
I saw, I've just arrived on Monday, so when I saw that you're in Israel, I thought maybe I might even bump into him. Never expected I'll have an interview with him, but thank you.
Yeah, maybe I might even bump into him. So he was looking forward to it. You know what I mean? If you're not equipped, bro, why would you want to bump into him? Why wouldn't you just walk past him? You know what I mean? But anyway, it goes on, but guys, like, it's too much.